Hey guys, sorry, I'm tired. It's 11:23 right now, and I got back a few hours ago. I had to watch a bit of a movie with my family, but I went out with Jake and Sam, and we watched Pacific Rim. Today is 7/12/13, and this is my review on Pacific Rim. Now, I wanted to see this since I first saw the commercial. For a second, I thought it was based off a video game or it was going to be a Godzilla movie, which actually is rumored that they're making a new Godzilla movie, which I really hope is going to be like Pacific Rim, because Pacific Rim was actually really good. A lot of people are thinking, oh, it's going to be major CGI, it's going to be the next Transformers and the next Battleship. Oh, God, Battleship is so bad. But no, actually it was very, very well done. The entire cockpit scenes, which were a lot of them, showed the actors moving in their suits, moving in attached to this machine. But that was an actual set. Not all of that was CGI. Just them moving around. They were actually attached to those things and actually recording in that set. And I was very surprised that they were actually going to do that. And it made me very happy to see that they actually had a set for lots of this movie. The only parts they really needed CGI for were the monsters and the robots. And yes, you're probably wondering, but isn't that the entire point of the movie? Well, yes. And I mean, Transformers was probably gonna be difficult to do without a lot of CGI being used. Same with this movie. But you know what? They only needed CGI. They only used CGI when they needed to, which is a great job on the director and whoever and everyone else that made the movie. And it was great. I mean, yes, there's a few things that are predictable. I mean, you could have called it. I mean, it's not a groundbreaking story, but you know, it's interesting, and it doesn't have very many top paid actors. So I could see why it's not really favored right now. Everyone's going to see the new Adam Sandler movie more than this one. I highly recommend watching this. And I'm not saying the Adam Sandler movie is bad. I mean, it looks funny. I'm gonna go see it myself sometime. But anyway, back to this movie. Now, the main character isn't a very well-known actor, at least to my knowledge. There were three well-known actors, one I can't think of the name of, and my friend kept calling him Sergeant Major Jack Johnson. And then there's the actor of Charlie from Always Sunny in Philadelphia. Then there's the actor of Owen in Torchwood, and I love Torchwood. Very great fan of it. And I was just like, oh my god, Owen, but he has hair, and I couldn't tell if it was him in the trailer or not. I could barely tell. I was like, is that Owen? And I thought it was. So I just waited to see in the movie, and it was him. And he was great, and he was amazing, and so was Charlie. And again, I only can't remember their names, but they're great, and they were great and it was great. I really enjoyed it. It was cool. It had some funny moments, and it had some small romance moments, and it had action. It was nice. It wasn't just like, oh, these monsters are mutants or something. They had a little origin story of their own. And it doesn't start with them starting robots. This is towards the end, where the robots aren't really, where people don't want to pay for the robots anymore, and they're kind of losing them. And it's not at the peak of the fighting where it's just like, oh, the robots are really popular. It's not the peak of it. It's kind of the downfall of the robots, and I can't think of what they were called. I can think of the spelling, but I can't think of how it's pronounced, and I don't want to try to pronounce it right now. But basically, it's at the downfall of the robots, and it's the end, and it's just the ending of it. And they basically give you a brief summary of what's happened in the past, and they show you older robots, they show you newer ones, they show you middle-aged ones, and it's very interesting. There's a new game coming out by the makers, with the same makers that made the Real Steel game, and I heard it's a real good game. I actually want to give it a try sometime. But you know, the movie was very well done. It was, I don't know if the acting was phenomenal, but I mean, it was entertaining. It kept me I enjoyed it. I had fun with it. It's 2 hours long, so if you don't like sitting in long movies, it's just, you might not last, because it's 2 hours and 10 minutes. But the only bad thing about it, and I kind of was going in there not so happy, was because our theater took 20 minutes to set it up, and they put the name on the wrong theater. They had two movies that they told were in Theater 6. And on top of it said Lone Ranger, so we'd have thought, well, maybe they were wrong and we're supposed to go to this theater. Well, it was actually the other way around. Lone Ranger was in the wrong theater, and we were in the... And that was where that one was, and it just took like 20-30 minutes for them to actually get it all fixed and start it up. And that was just annoying. And then it started up, and like the first 5 minutes of maybe 10 minutes of the movie, the lights were still on, and it took them forever to turn the lights off. and so I was just not very interested. But it made up for it. It was a good movie. I enjoyed myself. It was entertaining. It was, I wouldn't say keeps you on your toes or anything, but it was great. It was what Transformers tried to be and failed to be, and I highly recommend watching it. Now, this is probably not gonna be that long because I don't want to spoil the movie too much. And the monsters are interesting, and they don't actually understand them yet. Even though this is like towards the end of their fighting, they thought they were just all random monsters. They figured out where they're coming from, but they're trying, like, the actor of Owen is trying to figure out numerically how many are going to come through, when they're going to come through, how strong they're going to come. Charlie's kind of like, oh, we've got to figure them out on a biological scale, and we have to just think about this, and it's just interesting how they see how characters clash and then they unite, and it's just, it was really good. I enjoyed it. I highly recommend watching it, if you didn't watch it now. People aren't very excited for it since it came out. People were excited when they started announcing it, and then it kind of died out when it came out. So I really hope, if you haven't seen it, go watch it. If you have, then go ahead and leave your thoughts and your interests in the comment section. Will there be a sequel to this? No. But maybe they'll make a prequel? I don't know. Probably not. This isn't a really sequel-made movie. This is a one-hit wonder type thing. And I think if they do make that new Godzilla movie, that the director and whoever worked on this movie should work on that, because they did very well on this one. And the CGI, it wasn't even bad CGI. It was actually really good. It was very interesting. And, I just liked watching it, and it was cool. Maybe it's because it has robots and monsters, and it's just like, it's like a new version of Godzilla. Except there's not the Godzilla part. And, it was nice. It was good to see. So, now this is scoring, the actual number scoring part, where I score out of 1 to 10 how good or how bad, how horrible the movie was. So on a scale of 1 to 10, overall, what would I give this movie? Usually I'm a higher grader. If it's a good movie, I'm usually a higher grader, and if it's a bad movie, I'm usually a lower grader. I would have to give this probably an 8.5, 9. Probably an 8.5, because the story's not it's not there too much. I mean, there's not much to the story, and it's just, there's not much character development with all the characters. There is with 3. There's 3 characters with just character development. You don't know too much about a few other of the characters, but you kind of get it with their personality. You get their personality, and you're like, oh, this guy's the guy that's just like, I'm cool, and no one else is better than me, or even close how good I am. The other guy is like, well, he's a disappointment, but he's my family member. Then there's characters that are like emotionally affected, emotionally attached, like father-daughter relationships, brothers relationships, father-son relationships, all that kind of stuff. It didn't have too much depth into it. It was kind of just like, oh, it's a fight movie, watch it, it's good. It's not one of those, it doesn't have that depth to it. It didn't really need that depth to it. That depth to it kind of just would have spoiled it. But in the end, it seemed so much bigger, and you're like, man, this looks like a world they could have really explored, but they took a movie and they put it in the end of it, instead of them like, you would think, would it make it look like that they start making the robots, so it's like the beginning of this like war, but no, it's actually like the end of it. It's going on for years, probably like, I'm gonna say probably at least 8 years it's been going on, maybe 10, and it's at the end of it's like sloping down, and it was good. So 8.5, 9, yeah. So highly recommend it. So that is my review on Pacific Rim. Go see it. See you later.